Hi, I'm Lee for Gaming Lives. I'm joined here with Erik Johnson, Senior Producer on Defense of the Ancients at Valve. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Defense of the Ancients, the first game, it started off as it was a mod for Warcraft 3. Sort of coming from that to now having your own game from the ground up. Sort of how did you get from A to B with that?
Well, it started with a bunch of people at Valve that were fans of DotA and fans of Ice Frog. So we kind of had the fans just like everyone else. We really loved the game, and then as developers, we saw someone who, by himself, had grown this audience of tens of millions of people, was constantly adding a huge amount of value to those customers, making a lot of good product and game design decisions along the way. So that was kind of the start of it, and we contacted him and asked him kind of where he wanted to take the product, or kind of what he wanted to do, and we were pretty excited, and he's the kind of person that we want to work with, and so he came to Valve, and from there we kind of started working on a sequel to the product, so that kind of the constraints that he'd been living under in the mod amateur world, now he has an art team, and we can build a whole game. So that's kind of how it started, and kind of our thinking behind it.
Is it still very much sort of his baby? Is it his game, or is there a lot of people that sort of make the decisions on sort of how the development process plays out?
Well, we try to distribute as many decisions around the company as we can, so every game we make, it's everybody's baby. Yeah. So I think he's having a ton of fun. It's probably for him, it's a lot of fun seeing a mod that he's worked on for the last 6 years, with this huge audience built up, and now there's a tournament where one of these teams is going to win $1 million this Sunday. That's probably pretty exciting for him also, but the rest of the team's just as excited. We're fans of the game, and we're fans of him, and we're pretty excited to put this out in front of everyone.
Sort of with the game, do you think is it ever going to be sort of possible, do you think, to get a game like this onto the consoles and have it keep that sort of same feeling? Is it something that you guys had ever considered, or?
I mean, we're pretty focused on PC and Mac right now, but that's just kind of the problem space that we've chose. I think that there's ways that you could solve it so that you can play the game in the living room. It's a challenge, just like lots of other things you'd have to do. For now, PC and Mac's what we're focused on, though.
How are you balancing all of the different hero classes that you've got within the game? I mean, is it very much just sort of the player sort of evolves them as they're playing, or is there sort of a bit more sort of rock paper scissors mechanic to them?
Well, that was kind of the thing for us when we were just playing DotA, the mod. It was hard for us to wrap our heads around it. We didn't understand how one person could kind of manage this whole system and still end up with lots of happy customers. And with Dota 2, there's a huge number of those types of decisions that have already been made, that all of the fans and the community around Dota and these professional players are used to. So we're not going to change those things. And so the game is going to have the same heroes initially as Dota 1 had that act in the same way. And over time, we're going to, just like Dota, it'll move forward, and those heroes will change and new heroes will show up. But it's definitely kind of a process of kind of always looking at all the parts of the game and making sure that they're as good as they can be.
You mentioned the tournament briefly that you've got going on outside at the moment. That's going to be running for sort of the duration of Gamescom. What's going on for the tournament? How many teams have you got involved? Sort of prize money and things like that?
So we invited the top 16 teams from around the world. There's teams from Southeast Asia, Europe, Russia, kind of all from around the world to come and play. And the top team will take home $1 million. The total prize pool is $1.6 million. And for us, we just thought it was an interesting way an entertaining way to show fans the game for the first time. Dota's a game that people want to. They always are looking for ways to learn how to get better at the game. We felt like seeing the highest level of competition would be a great way for everybody to see that. So that's an exciting way for the fans to see the game. And then for us, on the development side, it's just a really useful way to kind of bring a bunch of clarity around what we need to do to get the game finished, knowing that a bunch of people we're fans of, a bunch of these professionals are going to be playing the game here in this event. It meant that we had to kind of go through a bunch of decisions and do a bunch of useful work to be ready for it.
I mean, it certainly seems to fit very well with sort of the esports genre, if you like, which is becoming a really big thing now. It's obviously it's quite big over in the Far East, but now it is sort of making that jump sort of over into the West. Are you hoping this is going to be sort of one of the big esports titles?
Well, I mean, I think it's a great game to watch. To be honest, I don't really particularly follow the broader esports scene, but I do follow Dota, and it has some qualities to it that make it a pretty interesting game for people to watch, and for players of the game to actually get some real value out of it. When we brought all the professional teams into the beta that we're running about 4 weeks ago, everyone in the office was watching them all on the monitors, both terrified as to the fact that they're about to play our game, but also pretty interested and amazed at how skilled they were and how quickly they could make decisions that were the right ones and how often they were the right decisions. So as a fan, it's just a huge amount of fun to watch these guys play.
Is there anything that sort of a lot of the esports teams had started doing with the game since you'd given it to them that it didn't even occur to you that it was possible? Is there sort of any sort of tricks that they'd found, or?
Well, it's almost like they have a base skill level that's pretty extraordinary, and they're just kind of good at everything. But Dota's a game that's really about a strategy and good moment-to-moment decision making, and so that's the thing that I've been so surprised at, is that it's really their ability to think about a hugely complex system on the fly and make good decisions that's so amazing. I mean, all of the players in the tournament are extraordinarily skilled, but it's the kind of high-level strategy that's pretty amazing to me.
You're senior project manager on the game. Sort of day to day, what does a senior project manager do? Well,
the funny thing is that Valve titles are pretty loose or don't even really exist.
You get to make them up yourself.
Pretty much. I, like a lot of people at Valve, end up bouncing around a lot and do a lot of different things. So, whether it's talking to the press or kind of thinking through issues around the game, everybody does an equal number of things kind of all over the place.
I mean, with the game and how it sort of originally started its life as a mod, are you going to be releasing sort of any of those authoring tools out to the public once the game's sort of hit the shelf like Valve do with a lot of their other stuff, or is it something you want to really try and keep contained?
Well, we really like the idea of our customers, some of them having the ability to create content for other customers. We think that that's something that's really interesting. So, I mean, right now we're so focused on just getting the game right and getting it good that we haven't really thought about all those kinds of things yet. But that's definitely something that is always kind of interesting to us.
Next question's from one of the guys that follow us on Twitter. He's asked how the progression and loot drop quality in the game will work. Are we going to see powerful weapons early in the game, or is it going to be a slow build-up?
Well, Dota's a game where you actually get all the resources that you're going to use in the game, you earn yourself. So you gather gold, and in that game session, you buy all the items you do, and those items don't really carry over. So it's a game that has generally about 45 minutes of length, and it covers kind of a start and an end, and at the end there's no carry forward on what you have. So
for yourself, what's one of the most exciting features for the game? Like, what's the one thing that you like? Oh, that's the best thing of the game for me.
I mean, as a Dota fan, having a way to get a group of your friends together and play a game against like skilled players. That's the thing that's the most interesting for me. We want to make that easy because that's kind of one of the things that's really difficult in Dota 1 right now. On the kind of development side, or one of the experiments we're going to run is around coaching and allowing an experienced player to teach a new player kind of some of the basics of the game and how to get better. So kind of interested to see how that'll work out. Those are the two that kind of right now most interesting.
How would that sort of training session sort of pan out? Is it like you're sort of playing co-op 1-1, or is one guy talking to the other guy and showing him sort of what to do?
That the coach would be able to speak to the person that they're observing, and also the coach would see that person's cursor and their HUD and be able to kind of tell them about things that are going on as they play.
Would there be any sort of benefits to the person that's doing the coaching, or just for the love?
We do want to have a reward system for those people in the community that are creating a bunch of value for other people in the community, and there's so many different ways that people do that. I mean, that's something that we need to kind of understand how we're going to do that, but that's something that's pretty interesting to us.
One of the other big things, particularly in the Valve community at the moment, has got to be sort of the hats and the hat shop, that kind of thing. Are we going to see something similar?
I mean, right now, we got our hands full enough with just figuring out how to make sure that the game's fun and that all the existing Dota fans want to play it. We haven't even really thought about
no time for messing with hats.
What we're going to do. Well, just in terms of how we're even going to make money off the product. I mean, right now let's just make sure a bunch of people want to play the game, and we'll figure out the rest. At some point later.
Cool. Well, Erik Johnson from Valve, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.